Oh boy. I swear the Chinese faction, man. Like, if there's a vehicle that you want to pair with another vehicle from another nation without buying premiums, sure, check the Chinese faction. You can probably find a setup there. Or if there's an event vehicle that you miss, check the Chinese faction. It's probably there as well. Or maybe, if you can't decide on what faction to start off your War Thunder career with, check the Chinese faction because they basically have everything from every single faction. Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to another episode of Heroes and Generals, but it's War Thunder. And today, moving out of the tankers line of tanks in Heroes and Generals, we are now moving on to the other armor vehicles that you can play in Heroes and Generals, this being one of them. This is the M8 light armored car, or Greyhound, whichever you want to call it, which is a reconnaissance vehicle. And by reconnaissance, that means yes, this thing is available to recons in Heroes and Generals, but not to tankers. But anyway, how does this fare versus the one in Heroes and Generals? Well, first off, you don't exactly have armor, just like the one in Heroes and Generals. And in War Thunder, well, the good news is that, hey, most small arms machine guns like the 30 caliber, the 7.92, 7.7 machine guns, they only pen up to 13mm of armor at most, so I'm really not too concerned about them penetrating my front anytime soon. However, autocannons and 50 caliber machine guns will not have that issue, so that's something you need to be careful of, as well as basically anything else. Big cannons and whatnot can easily tie you up if you're not careful. Or maybe if you don't like the idea of taking shells from the front, what you can do is play hold on, because for some reason, like most American tanks, all the armor went to the turret. 19mm right here sitting on top of another 25mm plate that is sitting on top of a very oddly shaped 19mm turret right here. Yeah. What exactly are you trying to protect here, man? Like, it's not as if any guidance you come across is just going to penetrate this anytime soon. And to make things worse about the one in War Thunder is the fact that this is an open top vehicle, so overpressure just by hitting your wheel or this thing right here, wherever on your tank, is enough to kill you with any high explosive of any kind. And in this battle rating, you will be seeing a lot of heat or high explosive type rounds. So with the serious lack of armor, what about the mobility on this thing? 110 horsepower engine doesn't seem very powerful, but good news is that you're not a very heavy tank, you're around 7 to 8 tons. Yeah, so that means going up to 90 kilometers an hour is not an issue for you. Here's the thing that you need to be careful of though. If you can't see this already, you're a wheeled vehicle, so that means if you're going off-road, driving on mud and everything, you will see a very significant drop in your top speed. So that's something you need to be careful of when you're driving this thing. And now moving on to firepower of this thing. Now this is the part where I'm starting to question Gaijin. Why? Like, if you see my M2A2 video and how devastating the 50 caliber is, can you imagine a vehicle that has the same firepower as the M2A2 with a 37mm on board? Oh dear. 37mm M6 cannon, and this is the shell that we'll be firing. The armor piercing cap ballistic cap shell that pens up to 87mm of armor with no explosive filler. But since this is a ballistic cap shell, it does shrapnel pretty well. Just be careful about one thing though. If you come across something that is a little bit spacious in terms of design, you don't exactly have a high explosive or the semi armor piercing high explosive incendiary round than the American M5 has. So that means you may have difficulty trying to kill those guys, but the good news is that you do have a 50 cal to work with, 31mm of penetration. If you see the one that was on the American Tech 3, the M8 Greyhound or whatever you want to call it, you might want to prioritize over killing that guy. Yeah, trust me when I say that. And now moving on the other aspects of the gun. You can carry up to 80 rounds of ammunition. I just say just bring as many as you want, maybe around 40 shells or something. And if you're thinking, why not bring less shells? Because those are an explosive accident waiting to happen. Well, to be honest, after a while playing this thing, I mostly died to crew loss or overpressure rather than ammo rack. So yeah, if you want to bring 80 rounds, be my guest. You want to bring less, up to you. I say bring around 40 rounds. Yeah. And then reloading rate, 4.2 seconds. This is something you need to be careful of, especially when you're playing this thing in a flank and spang maneuver. 4.2 seconds for a 37mm gun is a little bit long. Now granted, I am running expert crew on with one level weapon reloading. 4.2 seconds is a little bit long, so that's something you need to be careful of, especially since This is the type of round that you are doing two tap the two tap tactic, which is basically just shoot one side of the tank and then shoot the other side. Vertical guidance, negative tank gun depression, which is excellent, especially when you're doing the hold down or ambush position. And if you're wondering, will this thing actually affect the gun depression? The answer is no, which actually surprised me as well. Now, targeting speed 16 degrees a second, this is something you also need to be careful of, because most light tanks in this battle rating definitely has a better turret rotation than this. 16 degrees is a little bit lacking, unfortunately, so that's something you need to be careful of. And finally, gun stabilizer vertical, but considering how fast you're going, I'd say it doesn't really matter whether you have one or not. Not to mention, it's only effective around 15 kilometers an hour or so. So yeah. And so there you have it. This is the M8 Greyhound. And how does this fare versus the one in Heroes and Generals? I really prefer this one over the one in Heroes and Generals for multiple reasons. Firstly, you have a 50 cal on board, so that means, yeah, a lot of tanks you are going to come across, you're going to tear up very easily. Unlike the one in Heroes and Generals where you have to rely on a stock armor-piercing round that the Greyhound is stuck with. But at least the good news is that, what was it, last year they added high explosive to this thing, so it becomes a proper infantry fighting vehicle. Like, what's going on with that, man? The second issue is that mobility. Heroes and Generals is doing the same thing as warthunder, where if you're driving on-road and off-road, there's a difference. But the unfortunate thing is that in Heroes and Generals, the map design, again, like, what's the point of you going fast and doing flank and spam maneuver when the map just bottlenecks you at a bridge or a river fort anyway? But anyway, the next problem is that I'm not exactly sure what was the design reason behind this, but for recon vehicles in Heroes and Generals, it's a two-man vehicle. So that means, unlike War Thunder or the Heroes and Generals tankers where it's just one person manning the gun, manning the driving of the tank, for recon vehicles, you can only choose to either drive the armored car or man the gun. You can't do both, unfortunately. And that quite often leads to the armored car getting stolen because, yeah, the guy can't drive away in time. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this vehicle. Now let's take this thing out into battle and let's bully everybody, shall we? Take this thing out of reserve.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.